Have you ever found yourself rambling in a meeting, watching people's eyes glaze over, and thinking, why can't I just get to the point? Today we're going to transform the way you communicate. No more meandering explanations, no more confused listeners, just razor-sharp clarity that gets results. Whether you're presenting to executives, explaining concepts to clients, or simply chatting with friends, you're about to discover how to make every word count. Let's be honest, unclear communication isn't just annoying, it's expensive. Picture this. You're in a crucial meeting trying to pitch your brilliant idea, but you're circling around the point so much that decision makers have already mentally checked out. That promotion? It just slipped away. How many times have projects gone off track because someone couldn't explain the requirements clearly? Studies show that unclear instructions can increase project completion time by up to 40%. When you consistently struggle to communicate clearly, people start to question your expertise, even when you're the smartest person in the room. Your ideas get overlooked simply because you can't express them effectively. Think about all the extra meetings, follow-up emails, and clarifying conversations you've needed because the message wasn't clear the first time. That's not just frustrating, it's costing you and your organization valuable time and resources. Let's break down the 3 fundamental principles that will transform your communication style. Think of your message like building a house. You need the foundation and framework before adding the decorative elements. Start with your main point, then support it with details, not the other way around. This simple shift will keep your audience engaged from the start. Words have power, but only when they drive action. Instead of saying, the meeting was attended by team members, say, team members attended the meeting. Active voice creates clarity and impact, making your message impossible to ignore. Here's a game-changing rule. Express one complete thought in one breath. If you need to take multiple breaths to finish your sentence, you're probably trying to pack too many ideas into one statement. Break it down and watch your clarity soar. The difference between unclear and clear communication isn't just about words, it's about impact. Let's compare ineffective communication habits with their powerful alternatives. We've all been guilty of starting sentences with hesitant phrases like, well, I kind of think maybe. This immediately undermines your credibility and makes listeners doubt your conviction. Starting with confident phrases like I recommend or based on my analysis immediately commands attention and shows you value your own expertise. You know those explanations that seem to go on forever, circling the point without ever quite reaching it? They exhaust your listeners and dilute your message. Short, purposeful statements hit harder and stick longer. They show respect for your listeners' time and demonstrate your command of the subject. How often do you save your main point for the end, thinking you need to build up to it? This common mistake loses your audience before you reach your conclusion. Starting with your key message hooks your audience immediately. Supporting details then reinforce rather than reveal your point. Phrases like sort of, kind of, and possibly weaken your message and make you sound uncertain, even when you're the expert in the room. Speaking with conviction doesn't mean being arrogant. It means trusting your knowledge and expressing it clearly. Your audience will trust you more for it. Let me share one of my favorite quotes about precision in language, attributed to Mark Twain. He said, "The difference between the right word and the almost right word is the difference between lightning and lightning bug." This powerful comparison shows us why precision matters. Just like lightning and a lightning bug are worlds apart in impact, choosing the exact right word versus settling for an almost right word can completely transform your message. When you choose precise language, you're not just communicating, you're illuminating your ideas with the brilliant clarity of lightning. Let's explore the 4 most dangerous traps that can sabotage your communication, and more importantly, how to avoid them. First up is what I call the qualifier cascade. It's that habit of padding our statements with unnecessary qualifiers. When we pepper our speech with words like maybe, sort of, and kind of, we're actually apologizing for having an opinion. These words act like tiny holes in a dam, slowly draining away our credibility. Each qualifier chips away at your perceived authority. Even if you're the most knowledgeable person in the room, these words make you sound unsure. Remember, your expertise has value. When you know something, own it. Replace "I think maybe we should" with "I recommend we should." Next is the context avalanche, where we bury our listeners under mountains of background information. We often feel compelled to share every bit of context before getting to the point. It's like forcing someone to read an entire cookbook before telling them how to boil water. By the time you reach your main point, your audience is lost in the details, and your key message gets buried. The solution? Start with your conclusion, then provide context only as needed. Think headline first, details second. The third trap is the jargon jungle, where simple ideas hide behind complex terminology. Using technical terms or industry jargon might make us feel smart, but it often creates barriers to understanding. When we overuse complex terminology, we risk losing connection with our audience, especially in cross-functional communications. The key is to explain complex ideas as if you're talking to a smart friend from a different field. Einstein said it best: if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Finally, there's the circular loop, where we keep revisiting the same points without moving forward. This happens when we're either unsure of our message or afraid we haven't made our point clearly enough. Instead of strengthening our message, repetition often leads to audience disconnection and mental fatigue. Break this cycle by planning your key points in advance and trusting that clear, concise delivery is more effective than repetition. Let's dive into 5 powerful techniques that you can start using immediately to transform your communication. First, the 10-word rule. If you can't summarize your main point in 10 words or less, you haven't crystallized your thinking enough. For example, instead of a lengthy explanation about project delays, try: we need 2 more weeks to ensure quality delivery. Simple, clear, actionable. Next, pause and punctuate. Think of your speech like music. The pauses are just as important as the notes. After each key point, pause for 2 seconds. This gives your audience time to absorb your message and signals the weight of your words. It's the difference between a wall of sound and a symphony. The power triangle technique structures your message with 3 supporting points. Maximum. Start with your main message at the top, then support it with up to 3 key points. This creates a stable, memorable structure that listeners can easily follow and remember. Using concrete examples means replacing abstract concepts with tangible illustrations. Instead of saying, "we need to improve efficiency," say, "we can reduce processing time from 5 days to 2 days." This makes your message real and actionable. Finally, the 3-2-1 method. End every important communication with 3 key takeaways, 2 action items, and 1 immediate next step. This creates clarity and momentum, turning your words into action. These aren't just theoretical improvements. Let me show you the real impact of clear communication in everyday business situations. Imagine running meetings that take just 15 minutes instead of 45. That's what happened at a tech company when they implemented these clear speech techniques. Their daily stand-ups became more focused, more productive, and team members actually looked forward to them. One marketing team reported cutting their follow-up emails by half after implementing these techniques. Why? Because when messages are clear the first time, you don't need endless back and forth clarifications. Think about how much time that saves across an entire organization. A project manager shared how her team's decision-making time dropped from weeks to days. When proposals and recommendations are crystal clear, stakeholders can make confident decisions faster. No more waiting for clarifications or dealing with ambiguity. Perhaps most importantly, teams report significantly higher engagement levels. When communication is clear, people feel more confident contributing their ideas, asking questions, and taking initiative. This creates a positive feedback loop of better collaboration and results. Before we wrap up, let me give you your own communication toolkit, practical resources you can use starting today. First, the Daily Clarity Checklist. Before any important communication, ask yourself, is my main point in the first sentence? Have I removed unnecessary qualifiers? Can my message be understood in one reading? This simple mental checklist will immediately improve your clarity. Next, I've created quick reference templates for common business situations. Need to present a proposal. Start with, "I recommend action because primary reason." This will achieve specific outcome. Need to report a problem? Use, here's the situation, its impact, and my proposed solution. These templates ensure you never start from scratch. The pre-communication planner is your strategic tool. Spend 2 minutes answering, who's my audience? What's my one key message? What action do I want them to take? This brief planning prevents rambling and keeps you focused. Finally, the message testing framework. Before delivering any important message, test it with this simple approach. Can you say it in one breath? Would a 12-year-old understand it? Could someone act on it immediately? If you answer yes to all three, your message is clear and ready to deliver. You now have everything you need to transform your communication style. Here's your roadmap for immediate action. Begin with one technique in your very next conversation. Maybe it's the 10-word rule or the power triangle. Small changes, consistently applied, create remarkable results. Remember, you don't have to transform everything at once. Set aside 5 minutes each morning to practice these techniques. Review yesterday's communications and ask yourself, how could I have made them clearer? This daily reflection will accelerate your progress and build your confidence. Keep a simple log of your communication wins. Notice when meetings run shorter, when decisions are made faster, or when you receive positive feedback about your clarity. These victories will motivate you to keep improving. When you experience success with these techniques, share them with your team. Teaching others will reinforce your own learning and create a ripple effect of clear communication in your organization. Remember to leave a comment below about which technique you'll try first.